Welcome to this week's SHU Sports Report. Alongside Adam Anaratone, I'm Diana Canizaro. We hope you had a great Thanksgiving. We've had a lot going on here over the break, so let's talk Pioneer sports.
Let's talk Pioneer sports indeed. In the final regular game of the season, the Sacred Heart Pioneers football team took on the Wagner Seahawks. After starting with 2 strong victories, the Pioneers have dropped 5 games and have lost their chance to three-peat as conference champions. However, on Senior Day, the Pioneers were looking to end the season with a winning record for the 3rd consecutive year. Let's take it to Campus Field and see if the Pioneers could finish above 500. And now we start right here. Noel to Jackson. Touchdown, 7-3 SHU. Nate Chavis is going to break a 1-yard run here to make it 14-3 SHU. And it looks like the route is on until Otis Wright breaks a 50-yard run. Speed kills, ladies and gentlemen. And he's going to go into the end zone, making it 14-10. Now on the ensuing kickoff, Nate Chavius is going to take this ball and bring it back 50 yards. Watch him bust these moves right here. That is amazing. He's going to tightrope down the sideline and get bumped out right here to the 48-yard. Nate Chavius is, Thompson is going to hit his receiver in the end zone to make it 17-all, tying it up. We got a game on our hands, ladies and gentlemen, until Nate Chavis says no. 24-7 SHU. Now, Noel is going to hit Tyler Doobie for a 36-yard pass, and he is going to get it right here. If he could get in the end zone, that would make him the winner. But right here, Noel the Doobie, touchdown. He is the all-time receiving leader at SHU. Now, Doobie and Noel each received their 3rd consecutive first-team All-NEC honors following the conclusion of the regular season, highlighting 7 Pioneers that made the all-conference team.
The Sacred Heart women's volleyball team had a phenomenal season. They made their way to the semifinals to face off 3-time defending champions SHU Brooklyn. We had a chance to catch up with head coach Rob Machin after the game. Let's take a look at the highlights. The Pioneers prepped all season to make it to the tournament. They knew LIU would bring a challenge to the table, but Coach Machin kept his team focused and determined just to go out, play hard, and not give up. Sacred Heart faced LIU Brooklyn in the final week of the regular season, so they had a better idea of what to look out for. But the Pioneers couldn't stop their lead when the Blackbirds got ahead. Coach Machin tells us what his timeout speeches sounded like.
Mainly it was to try to enjoy every point. Sometimes if things aren't going your way, you start to think too broadly. We wanted to make sure they refocused on the point they were in, and I thought they did a great job of that, actually. Honestly, our program has championship expectations, and that really is kind of what we set the standard as. But we had a lot of adversity this year, a lot of injuries, and they just kept fighting through it, and you saw the way they played. They just fought for every point, so I'm very proud of them. In this match, I thought LIU actually played very well. Their serve receive was much better than it was before. We served very aggressively and tough, and they still passed very well. They also got a few of the home court breaks. They played 3 or 4 balls off the ceiling in that last set and got kills off of them, and that's just being comfortable in your environment.
This was the first winning season since 2011. The Pioneers lost the semifinals 3-1, but they should feel proud. LIU Brooklyn moved on to the championship match, but fell short to Robert Morris for the NEC title.
Now let's send it over to Aaron Burrell, who is with the Sacred Heart head wrestling coach Andy Lozier in this week's Coach's Corner.
Thanks, guys, and thank you, Coach. I'm here today with Coach Andy Lozier. So, the wrestling season is off to a positive start for the Pioneers. You have received strong individual performances from Conan Schuster and Gerard Daly. A month in, where does the program stand in your eyes?
I'm really happy with where we are right now. This summer, as I was preparing our schedule, I strategically set it up so that coming out of the gate was going to be a real challenge for our program. So we started off at the Binghamton Open, which is traditionally a really tough tournament. It has over 500 wrestlers, and we were very pleasantly surprised to see a true freshman, Gerard Daly, make the finals. It's the first time since I've been the head coach at Sacred Heart we've had a wrestler make the finals of a tournament. And he lost a very closely contested match to a returning All-American from Lehigh. The following weekend, we followed up with the 3rd-ranked team in the country, University of Michigan, and the 12th-ranked team, North Carolina State. And we battled those programs really well. We were able to pick up 4 individual wins among the 2 dual meets. And I think most importantly, we learned that those guys don't know anything we don't know. They just execute the small details a lot better. And then we finished our opening stretch at the Keystone Classic, the University of Pennsylvania. and Conan Schuster, who is our returning academic All-American, made the finals and lost a close match to the 10th ranked wrestler from Indiana University. So I think coming out against really tough competition, I think we've set a solid start for the rest of the season, and we really now know where we need to focus our attention so that we can make our improvements and hit our peak for the EIWA tournament in the first weekend of March.
Okay, great. So the second annual Pioneer Palooza is Saturday. Can you give us an overview of the event and what it means to the program?
Sure. It was a concept that we kind of stole from Drexel University. I have a friend that's the head coach over there, and they call it Spirit Night. And the idea is to kind of create a competition among the student organizations for a cash prize. So we kind of took that overall idea and then tried to basically inject it with steroids. So last year we gave away $1,000 to the student organization that came out with the most spirit. And then we gave away $300 to the organization that came out with the most overall numbers. And we raffled off an iPhone 6. But most importantly, what we tried to do was transform a traditional wrestling competition into an entertainment environment. And so we start off with a fan fest where everything's free, and then we kind of transform a dual meet into this environment with live music, special effects, professional lighting, so that people that have no idea about the sport of wrestling can come and enjoy a great competition, but in a great experience. And I think that's what sports need to be able to attract a casual fan. So heading into our second year, we learned a lot off that first year, and now, we're 3 days out, and it's just about kind of tying up those final logistics.
Okay, great. And so lastly, you and assistant coach Derek Moore ran to MSG. It's about 60 miles in 3 days. And you publicize Sacred Heart and collegiate wrestling. So obviously the sport is it's something that you're very passionate about. Can you give our viewers a little overview of what makes collegiate wrestling and Pioneer Wrestling so special to you?
Absolutely. And first of all, I'm glad that run to MSG is over, by the way. But for wrestling, what makes it so important to me is that it's a huge piece of my identity. It's really shaped me in a lot of ways. And I'm a firm believer that there's not a better developmental tool for young men, the sport of wrestling, just because it teaches such positive core values like accountability and responsibility. And really one that's important is how to deal with failure and then how to handle success. In terms of Sacred Heart Wrestling, yeah, I think that there's no better underdog story in the nation than this program. When I arrived 3 years ago, the program could not field a full lineup. We were financially broke, and we didn't have an assistant coach. And we've been able to correct all of those things, and now we're kind of starting to see our program move in a really positive direction. And so I think everyone loves an underdog story. It's something they can attach themselves to. On top of that, we're the only Division I wrestling program in the state of Connecticut, and we're the only Catholic institution in America with Division I wrestling. So we have some really unique identity points as a wrestling program.
Okay. Can you talk us a little bit more through the run to MSG, actually?
Yeah. It's dangerous when I start thinking. I had an idea to run to Madison Square Garden, which is the host of the 2016 NCAA Wrestling Championships. And what we wanted to do was raise money for our program. So we were asking people to make a pledge per mile. And so we had a great fundraising effort. We wanted to inspire our wrestlers. It's been 7 years since Sacred Heart University's had a wrestler qualify for the NCAA Championships. And we firmly believe that we're ready to make that jump this year. And then we wanted to promote our program, and we wanted to promote the NCAA Championships, and we thought that this was kind of an epic way to do that. And I think overall the event was a huge success.
Okay, great. So thank you for your time, Coach.
Yeah.
That's all we have. And back to you guys.
Thank you, Aaron. We'll hear more from him in a little bit.
Over now to the court where the men's basketball team hit the road for a 3 straight game, traveled to UMass Lowell, Fairfield, and Holy Cross. The Pioneers went 0-3 but saw the return of big men Tevin Falzon and Matej Bujovacs, both of whom would contribute early. Pioneers traveled to UMass Lowell for their first time since 1999 to take on the Riverhawks. Trailing by 10 midway through the game, the Pioneers went on a 15-0 run, and it took a 5-point lead with just 3:53 left. But Isaac White made a diving layup with 1.3 seconds left to lift the Riverhawks to the win. Kane Broom recorded his first career double-double with 20 points and 10 rebounds. Next, the Pioneers moved on to Fairfield to renew their rivalry with the Fairfield Stags in the second game of the 2015 Crosstown Classic. In the second half, Fairfield would take the biggest lead of the night, 62-50, with 10:23 remaining, but Sacred Heart would draw even with a 14-point run to go ahead 64-62. After both teams missed opportunities to win it in the end of regulation, Fairfield would open overtime with a 6-1 run, and SHU could not overcome the early deficit. Broome led the Pioneers with 18 points to lead 6 Pioneers in double figures, with Falzone and Bouillevats contributing 12 and 11 points respectively. In their last game, the Pioneers went to Worcester to take on the Holy Cross Crusaders after scoring 7 unanswered to tie the game at 51. With 7:21 remaining, Holy Cross ended the game on an 18-9 run to pull away for a 69-60 victory. Falzone was 1 point shy of a new career high with 21 points, while Kane Broome added 19. The Pioneers sit at 1-4 heading into tonight's matchup at UConn at 7 p.m. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock on SNY.
It's been a busy slate during the last 2 weeks for the Sacred Heart women's basketball team, starting off with their second game of the season. The Pioneers hosted New Hampshire. Let's take a look at the highlights. Carter, open for 3, but bounces off the rim, rebounds, Stork from the free throw, gets the basket, 31-30 New Hampshire. Polizou with the steal, Kelsey Castro for the jumper, SHU takes the 1-point lead. Williams sets a 3, knocks it in, 49-41 New Hampshire. Kimmel open, she seals a 3-pointer, then Kimmel again drives to the basket, is good and 1. Williams again spins, shoots, 78-64 New Hampshire.
Boom goes the dynamite.
Fourth quarter, 1:22 left. Durjan scores a 3-pointer, but not enough for the win. Sacred Heart takes a loss. Final score 81-69. Next up, the Pioneers played crosstown rivals Fairfield University. Senior Alyssa Tarsi led the team with a total of 17 points and 10 rebounds, with junior Adacia Williams adding another 15 points. The Pioneers came up short and fell 51-60. During Thanksgiving break, they traveled to sunny Puerto Rico to participate in the San Juan Shootout versus Coastal Carolina and Louisiana Lafayette. They took home their first win of the season against Coastal, 71-62, as Williams led the way with a total of 21 points. Rounding up with their last game of the San Juan Shootout versus Louisiana, they fought neck and neck, ending up in overtime, and Sacred Heart suffered a 2-point loss, 60-58. Next up, the Pioneers head to Queens to battle Big East members St. John's Thursday at 7 o'clock on ESPN3.
Now let's send it back over to Aaron in the update corner. Aaron, what you got for us?
Yeah, guys, it's been a busy week in SHU athletics. Let's get to it. The Sacred Heart Equestrian had a fantastic weekend, sweeping the hunt, seat, and Western competitions at the University of Connecticut. 2 riders, Star Rhoda and Haley Mena, have qualified for the regional championship. After beginning the year 0-3, the Sacred Heart women's ice hockey team is currently on a 3-game unbeaten streak after a win at Wesleyan last Tuesday and a win and tie at Morrisville State over the weekend. Goaltender Nicole McGee picked up both wins, making a combined 63 saves, while Casey Stathalopoulos and Heather Daly led the Pioneers with 5 points each. The women's cross-country team placed 4th as they finished their season at the ECAC Championships. The top 5 finish was spurred by Jennifer Hahn, Shannon Hickey, and Alexandra Caselin, who all placed in the top 25 to earn all East honors in their final competition of the year. On the men's side, Trevor Guerrero ran to his first career All-East honor with a 12th place finish in a field of 183 at the IC4A Championships. Running without NEC champion Sean Ferguson for a second consecutive race, 5 sophomores led the Pioneers to a 15th place finish. Women's fencing went 3-3 to open up Northeast Fencing Conference season at Brown. Julia Green was perfect on the day, going 18-0 as the Pioneers defeated Brown, Wesley, and New Hampshire. The men's team went 2-3 on the day, defeating MIT and New Hampshire. Tyler Endy went 13-2 in foil, while Roman Canone led the Epi squad with a 12-3 record. After winning the Northeast Conference fall meet, Casey Smith of the Sacred Heart bowling team earned her first career NEC Rookie of the Week nod. Entering the weekend as the 15th ranked team in the country, the team placed 17th at the UMES Hawk Classic. That's all we have from the Update Corner. Back to you guys.
Thanks for the update, Aaron.
On to men's hockey, where the Falcons of Air Force came to the Milford Ice Pavilion for a 2-game series with the Pioneers. In the first game, SHU would draw even with the Air Force in a 1-1 overtime tie. Sacred Heart's lone goal would come from sophomore guard Corey Kennedy. Freshman goalie Brett Magnus would save 25 shots. The second game would see Air Force push by Sacred Heart with a 3-2 victory. SHU's 2 scores were from senior forward Zach Luchik and junior forward Jordan Manello. Brett Magnus saved 19 shots, but it was not enough to stop the Falcons. Pioneer hockey team would hit the road and head to Pittsburgh to face off with Robert Morris in the first of 2 games series with the Colonials. The first game would provide plenty of scoring with an early score by Josh Phillips to put the Pioneers up 1-0 in the first. On to the second, where Connor Daughtery would join in and put SHU up 2-0. RMU would fire back with 3 goals to take a 3-2 lead late into the second. Sacred Heart would answer in the third behind Zach Sabatini's power play goal to knock the game up at 3 apiece. RMU would score 2 power play goals in the third to finish the game off, and an empty netter to set it up 6-3. SHU followed Saturday's performance with a 5-4 loss on Sunday as the Colonials scored the game winner, which is 4:38 left in the game. Jordan Manello led the Pioneers with 2 goals. Pioneers host Army West Point on Friday night at 7 o'clock at the Milford Ice Pavilion.
Thank you for tuning in to the SHU Sports Report. We'll see you next week. Thank you, Aaron Burrell. For Adam and Aratone, I'm Diana Canizaro.